during the challenge, I lost 8.3 pounds, lost 2.4% body fat, and 7.7 pounds of fat. Lost 7.7 pounds. So my favorite part of the challenge was the Facebook page, interactions with the other people, as well as the score sheet.
All right, so you just completed the challenge. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Fred Storer, and that's it.
Why did you sign up for the challenge?
I needed some help with nutrition. I was working out, doing good, but maintaining. So I kind of wanted to reel in the nutrition part of the healthiness.
Yeah. Okay. And so you've been on a journey for a while now, and you've had some really good success over the last year and a half or so. Tell us about your success during the challenge.
Other than the weight loss, you also the weight loss is good, but also you pick up good habits, and that's one thing you need every now and then to remember, because you can stop a challenge and have 6-7 months, and after about 2-3 months, all old habits sink back in. The challenge kind of reels that back in. You kind of remember that your protein and your vegetables and your carb, well, your carb should be smaller. It tends to get bigger as you further away you get, but you reel that in knowing you can still have it, just in less, is kind of a good reminder that you're not starving yourself from it.
Yeah.
You can actually have it, just not as much.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah. Awesome. And so like this isn't your first nutrition challenge either. Did you find it easier or more difficult than the first time?
More difficult.
More difficult.
Yeah.
What about it was more difficult for you?
Well, there's more discipline in this one. There's a lot more accountability, and just I kind of knew what going into it was, so it was almost like cranky. Like I don't want to do this, but I want to do this. So it's one of those things where I know it's good for me, but I don't want to eat good.
Yeah.
I don't want to prove that I've been eating wrong all this time.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. In terms of the accountability, you mentioned off camera before it was kind of like annoying.
Oh yeah.
But was the accountability the thing that you needed the most?
Yeah, most definitely, 100%. And it's also good in a weird way to kind of interact with people who I will never see in person because of how I train compared to them. You know what I mean? Like you got people who are there at like nights. I'll never see them at 5-6 o'clock class. And it's good to also see them kind of in the same journey, because you kind of have an idea of what those people are just by being here.
Mm-hmm.
But then you hear like, no, they're having problems too. You're like, all right, so we're all feeling out the day. It's not just trouble people in the morning, everybody healthy in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, they come after work because they're motivated. No, they're there because they just have to be there like I do for the morning.
Yep. Yep. So you had some great progress here. Lost just over 8 pounds, down another 2.5% body fat. What was your first sign of progress?
Well, my clothes, once again, having to buy new clothes. It's more so the measurements. My belt buckle became one more notch. I did no more notch on my belt buckles. Now I got to change those. Had to go buy new clothes. I noticed that first more so than a weight.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I noticed would be like just the food. My eating was actually getting better, more detailed. So I'd have my breakfast, the shake. I wasn't like hungry for all this time because I took care of it with that shake. I noticed that my appetite, or my meals, kind of aligned with how I was hungry rather than it's time to eat lunch.
Right. Yeah. And did you find that over the course of the 5 weeks that you got better at that and it was easier to maintain?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because it became a routine that I had. Again, you wake up in the morning, you eat something, lunchtime you eat, dinner time you eat, you stop eating at a certain time. But I was hungry for a period of time. And through this, once again, I introduced the shake. And that kind of, I was like, good. You know what I mean? It gave me a better routine.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're using a shake as
because I was hungry because I don't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
I don't eat a good breakfast. I'm not hungry and wake up for a very long time. I can go to almost 11, 12 without eating breakfast. But because of this, I had a small breakfast, something when I got hungry, and it kind of worked out wonderfully.
Yeah.
And I'll keep that going on. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was like, it wasn't. So obviously, it wasn't like the base prescription that maybe we had used before. It was
Correct.
like continuing tailoring it towards you and
Correct.
your day.
I told you how I ate, and you tailored it to that more so than just saying here's 4 trays and eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Were there any results that you got that that you noticed that maybe weren't a part of the official, measurements, or anything that maybe I wouldn't have noticed?
Just clothes fit. I had to change clothes again. I had to get different clothes again. So I'll have to take pictures of the 46s down to like 38s. So definitely, clothes. I noticed difference in the pants, the way they fit, and the fact that when I wear sweatpants now, they don't make the baggy ones when you get thinner. So you have to wear like the tight fitting, I guess. I got to get used to that because I never used to be able to fit in those, but now I do.
Yeah.
I finally shop at the non-big boy section stores like Old Navy and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Did you face any obstacles during the challenge?
Oh, temptation after temptation after temptation.
Yeah.
But it's more so temptation than fussiness, because I wanted it, but I knew I was going to have something. And usually, and it was times like when I wake up in the morning, I wake up extremely early. I had a couple eggs, that's what we talked about, because that's easiest for me, and I would see like a bagel. I wasn't hungry. I'm never hungry for breakfast, but I wanted it because I wanted it, and I had to talk myself out of it. So that was the only problem, but I knew I was going to have my shake. It was just like, okay, you know what, I'm going to have a shake that I'm going to like, it's going to taste good, it's going to make me think I'm cheating because it's a shake and not so much a food, and that's kind of, struggle bus was usually around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you feel like, so obviously you were able to overcome, that obstacle, like, was there a part of the nutrition challenge that you feel like was, part of the challenge that helped you overcome those obstacles where maybe you would have fallen off?
That shake.
Yeah.
The mid-morning shake, where again, I usually don't eat. So therefore that was there just to take over, like, your belly feels good, you chose what you wanted, and it wasn't bad stuff. Although it was unsweetened almond milk, somebody told me I could actually drink sweetened almond milk, which made it taste like, milkshakey, a little bit better, healthier. Well, non-healthier anyway. But that made a difference with the cravings for that morning, which again, I never usually have cravings, but because you limit yourself, your body goes into this panic mood of like, wait, I'm hungry. I'm like, wait, that's 8 o'clock, I'm never hungry at 8 o'clock. I knew I was going to get my shake shortly after, and it made 100% difference.
Yeah, awesome. And what would you say, from the challenge, like, were the top contributing factors to the success that you did have?
The accountability. And also just, again, accountability is number one, because not so much the sheets, they got kind of annoying, but their work, they are helpful. But just the accountability of knowing that I'm there with my wife, we were doing it together. We kind of bounced off each other, like she would prepare the tray and I remind her, hey, we should eat this instead of this. The posts on the Facebook page were kind of relatable. It made you feel you're part of something. So it wasn't just like me and my wife at a nutrition challenge. There was all these people that were part of the challenge together. And again, I've never seen some people face. I would trip over one, I couldn't tell you what they looked like. But now I can kind of see that we're struggling busting together, and it kind of felt good.
Yeah.
It was inclusive.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Is there anything you'd want to share with somebody who's sitting at home in the same shoes as you a couple weeks ago?
Well, it's the same thing. We did a video previously, and it's the one thing I always say. There's, if you're overweight and you're sitting on that couch and you're like flipping through the channels, watch TV, and you're just eating, and you want to do something, just remember there's always options out there. You can choose when it's time, but it's always good to start looking so you understand what things are. When you start looking for exercise routines, a gym, a fitness center, a coach, just make sure you're doing your research before you commit. Because if you commit to something, a lot of people are just going to take your money and you're going to be in their program. And that's why I was so successful for 14 plus years, because I would just jump on a bandwagon of something else popular. Hence, I tripped over this place called CrossFit Jungle Gym, where it was, surprised me that here I am a year and a half later, and it was the best choice I made because I did my research. Don't be afraid to do the research. Don't jump into something. Do your research to make sure it's for you.
Yeah.
So you're successful the first time.
Yeah. Awesome. Fred, awesome work in the challenge.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm happy with my results.